to Mario Kart.
Hello everybody, MegaZardX here, back at it again to give you another very exciting collection reflection video where I take the time out just to go through my whole entire gaming library. Could be a game, could be a limited edition, could be a console, but today we're going to be talking about none other than Mario Kart 64, because this game right here, I would say, was the pinnacle of racing back in the day. Obviously, I think you had two camps of people. You're gonna have the people that really love Mario Kart 64 or Diddy Kong's Racing. At least with me growing up, I did not have access to Diddy Kong Racing though. So Mario Kart 64 was my premier racer. And actually, that was the very first Mario Kart game I have ever played. I skipped over to Super Nintendo, thank goodness though. But yeah, so in today's video, we're gonna be talking about that game and why it had such a really strong impact, at least with me gaming and just growing up in general though. So if you hadn't already done so, make sure you're going to hit that like button, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and that bell to stay up to date on all things video game related I feel like talking about and discussing them. But without any further ado, let's go ahead and jump straight up into this video. Mario Kart 64. Now, I think I already mentioned this quite a few different times in past videos though, but I grew up on the NES and the Nintendo 64 though. And you know, as some of those few games that my dad managed to give me, at least when I was that young, about what, around 7 or 8 or so, Mario Kart 64 was definitely one of them. And this was, I would say, the pure evergreen title where I could just constantly keep going back to it and playing it over and over and over again. Now, obviously, while I was growing up, I had 2 other siblings and stuff. So not only could I, just go to the Grand Prix and just race against all those other CPU opponents though, but I also had the liberty of being able to play with my 2 siblings as well as other cousins or other family members that happened to swing by at the time though. For the longest time I only had 3 controllers. It wasn't until like much later until I managed to get like a 4th one though. But yeah, that's how we were always going through and playing Mario Kart 64 though. But I will remember that in terms of all my mains, normally I usually like to use Mario a whole bunch within, Mario Kart in general though. However, at least within this one right here, Bowser surprisingly was my main, at least growing up. And I don't know, it was just something about him. I don't know if there was like different weight classes or whatnot, but it felt like it. Because at least when you're racing around that court and then, if you just happen to mushroom somebody and just blast through somebody and hit somebody, like they were sent flying and stuff. I was like, oh shoot. Now, obviously with this one, I would say it's leaps and bounds better than the Super Nintendo version that came before it though. Because that Super Nintendo, that game is meant for grown men. I'm going to keep it a $1.50. Like that one controls extremely rough, like just drifting around corners and stuff, just being in a 2D environment. What felt like it for the most part though. I was like, my gosh. But Mario Kart 64 is leaps and bounds better than it. However, in comparison to like all the other Mario Kart games that came after it, such as like the ones on the GameCube like Double Dash and then Wii and everything else after it, this one controls a little bit differently. It is a little bit more slippery. Like even when you're making your left and right turns with just that stick, you can slip and burn yourself out. Like it happens a good fair amount of times though. But in terms of just the regular items, it was just pretty basic. You had the bananas and stuff, you had mushrooms, and then obviously you had your green shells and your red shells though. There's nothing sweeter than the satisfaction of nailing somebody with a green shell, because in this game, the red shells got better as the series went on and progressed. Like Mario Kart 8 or 7 or Wii or stuff like that, obviously it's just like a homing bullet though. But in this game in particular, if you're not using that red shell on straightway paths, there's a good chance it will just hit the side of the road. Like try using a red shell on like Rainbow Road in Mario Kart 64, and how many times it's going to hit that side rail right there and it's not even make contact with somebody. So oftentimes if you had that item, you just have to kind of keep it on your personnel until someone's like about to pass you or you're coming up right on top of somebody though. So yeah, so some of the items obviously they didn't manage to land quite well though. It's weird because I think even with the bananas, there is like one where it's like you get a really long strip of bananas, so it's really easy to kind of take people out with just that long strip of just dropping multiple ones. We didn't see that, item in particular come back in any future Mario Kart games though, but it is definitely a game for its time though. But you also had the courses themselves. I mean, honestly, I remember so fondly just going through and playing through, Bowser's Castle doing that, or like Mario Raceway. Like the fact that you had like the Nintendo 64 castle from Mario 64 in it, where literally you could just go off the pad, just kind of drive around the courses. I spent quite a bit of time just, doing that one track just to kind of explore around. I can't say how many times I was like, driving in my little, go-kart thing and trying to hit on the door, trying to get up in it. I wasn't gonna break any boundaries or something like that though. But at least when I was younger, I at least tried it. I don't know how many other people out there have tried it. Let me know in the comments if you ever did so. But yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of cool moments up in here though, in terms of like just all the different race courses and stuff like that. You didn't have anything like unlockable characters. You just had your simple Mario, Donkey Kong, Wario, Bowser, and then the rest of them Yoshi, etc. Though, so it was a pretty simple roster of characters, like 8 characters at most though. I don't know. It's just something about Mario Kart 64 and just how much of a timeless classic it is, though. And I was like, I don't know. You try to get your drifts and stuff off, and you're kind of halfway successful and stuff. There are like some slight little mini turbos up in there. That's kind of where we got our introduction to it here. It's not like as flashy as it is in some other future games, though. But regardless, though, man, I can't say how many times oh shoot, I didn't even talk about this. The battle mode up in here, like this is where it all officially started. I can't say, there's only like what about 4 different battle mode areas that you can able to do though. And I know one of them that really stood out was that one that was like the multiple colors and like it was like blocks and stuff. It's like yeah, like 4 different quads, right? It's like one that was like one color was like a red, green, yellow, or blue or something like that though. Man, oh man, oh man. Just running around and trying to get a whole bunch of red shells or green shells and just trying to perfectly nail your opponents here and there though. I mean, it was tough. It wasn't necessarily the easiest thing in the world, but it was so satisfying chunking that one red shell at that one person. Say, yeah, you out of here. Get out of here, sucker. I mean, man, oh goodness. I had some really fun times with the battle modes. I don't think the battle modes within Mario Kart got extensively better. I would say, I mean, Double Dash was all right and stuff. I think, had a solid one. Oh gosh, Mario Kart 8 was like non-existent, and thankfully they brought back, a whole bunch of other modes within like 8 Deluxe. It's like Shine Thief and stuff like that. The one where you have like the piranha plants in the front and like, you're just like capturing people and stuff though. So luckily they brought it back, but this is where it all started. And man, there was some highly competitive moments, at least when we did the battle mode up in here though. Now, the only little thing I think I could basically say that was a negative within Mario Kart 64 is if you're playing this game with 1 or 2 people doing the Grand Prix or just racing in general, you can always hear the background music. For some oddball reason, when you have a 3rd or 4th player up in the mix, the music's non-existent, and all you have is just the driving sound effects and stuff, or like the item roulette wheel just kind of running off though. I don't know, that just always kind of bothered me. I don't know why, but I was like, oh man, especially looking at it now, it's like really jarring. I might not have noticed it as much when I was growing up, but going back to it and just playing it, whether it be like the NSO service right now or just booting up the original one on my Nintendo 64 though, it's painfully obvious though. I'm like, doggone it, I wish I would fix that in the NSO. Just saying right there, Nintendo, like, come on, please. But yeah, it was really cool doing all of that. Obviously the ghost trials and stuff, try to make yourself progress a little bit better though. But yeah, that was definitely, I would say, the breakout moment for Mario Kart, at least for me in general. It made me an avid fan of it since then. I think since Mario Kart 64, I went through, played / owned every single Mario Kart game. The only ones I don't actually own is like, what was it, Mario Kart on the GBA, but I do have access to it via the NSO service, the expansion pack tier. But yeah, I had the Super Nintendo on my SNES Classic. I had the original 64. I already talked about the GBA one. I had the DS and the 3DS ones. I had the Wii. I had to go back and buy the GameCube. Originally, I played it thanks to my cousin. She sold it before I had a chance to buy it, upsetting me for years until I went back and started going through and collecting some GameCube old classics though. So I managed to get that back underneath our umbrella. Then obviously I have the Wii, and then I had the Wii U one, and thus the Switch one though. So yeah, really big Mario Kart fan. I can go back and play almost any of them except for Super Nintendo. Oh shoot though, but I don't know. I just have a really special soft spot in terms of Mario Kart games for Mario Kart 64. And if I were to do a tier list, which I think there is a tier list somewhere out there on my channel, I would definitely say Mario Kart 64 is in that S tier, along like with Double Dash and maybe 8 Deluxe or something like that though. But honestly, mad respect to my boy Mario Kart 64, and if you hadn't already done so, you definitely need to make sure you can play it, because honestly it's on the NSO service or the expansion pack tier. You have no excuse going through it and playing this beloved classic though. But y'all gotta let me know down in the comment section down below all that you think about, you know, Mario Kart in general for Mario Kart 64. Like, are you a big fan of it? Are you one of those people that honestly it didn't really click with it? If that happens to be you, I don't know who hurt you. I don't know what's going on in your head though, but I mean, this is just a timeless classic. This is the golden days right there. Nintendo 64 multiplayer, man, that was just peak. Man, you don't have that couch co-op play anymore like that. Just rarely, just some few games here and there, at least in the modern times though. But that's gonna basically do it in terms of this video right here. So if you really like this video, make sure you're gonna hit that like button, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and that bell to stay up to date on all things video game related I feel like talking about and discussing. So remember y'all, until our video I make next, see y'all.